Hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast, Everything Product. Here we talk about insights on latest technology with a product mindset. Uh, Thanks, everybody, for joining. I'm Sid Saladi, product manager at Best Buy.
Hi everyone, this is Phani. I'm a product manager at Intuit.
Previously, we have discussed a lot of crypto concepts, starting from Ethereum to different wallets and all of that stuff. But today, specifically, we're going to concentrate on side chains, their benefits, and we are also going to talk about layer two, which is Polygon and Solana, and layer zero, which is Polkadot. So these would be the highlights for this evening, and let's quickly get started with a question as we always do. So Funny, yeah. What are side chains? And yeah.
Cool, definitely Sidhu. So let me give you a simple example to understand that, right? So let's think of Ethereum as a big company. And in this case, let's take Microsoft. Okay. And Microsoft wants to do a very small application called HR system because they need to support their employees. In order for them to do that, they can't put resourcing and staffing to do that because they're already busy with so many other things. What they would do is they'll just go to the market or the software market to see what is a good product, and then they'll just use that. This will help them scale on the current thing that they're doing and give better products. Let's come back to our crypto world. Now, Ethereum is a big blockchain, and they are currently doing so many things. They're validating so many transactions. They're helping smart contracts. A lot of people are like minting NFTs on that, etc. It's not scalable to do several things. So that is where the side chains come into picture. Let's take the example of Polygon here, right? What Polygon is trying to do is they are trying to take some work from Ethereum. They're parallelly processing that and then giving a snapshot to Ethereum saying, hey, I am doing all of these things for you so that it makes easier. So now Ethereum is also happy because they're able to scale a lot more applications on the Ethereum blockchain. And at the same time, the startups or the smaller companies like Polygon is making the Ethereum's life easier. What do you think?
Yeah. So yeah, basically I would say piggyback on two different things, right? The biggest problems for Ethereum are the first is proof of work, which is now changing with the new upgrade, but that is one of the problems, and scalability. So all of the layer twos basically are trying to solve either of the problems for Ethereum and helping it kind of scale much easier. So this is all of these which we have discussed, right? Polygon and all of that would basically be ETH savers, which are helping ETH survive better. And getting into Polygon, right? So Polygon, as you said, is kind of taking a snapshot of all the transactions and giving it to Ethereum. And Ethereum basically, instead of validating all the different transactions, it looks at the snapshot and says, okay, you're good. I've just looked at a sample of your data. I think you're good. And you do your work. So it again goes back and kind of settles all the transactions and then gives back the snapshot. So by doing this, the overall network, uh, the applications in overall network, right, can do more and more transactions per second. That's making it more scalable for the applications, and there are more applications that would come into the network. So
That's correct.
also, one other piece which I want to add is Polygon is basically having EVMs, which are Ethereum virtual machines. So this is kind of having an Ethereum code run on a different chain. So that's easy for different applications inside Ethereum to come in and basically put their applications on a side chain, do transactions in a much efficient and a much easier way. So that's why it's interoperability is easier, scalability is easier, and also it makes the overall chain much ecosystem much efficient.
That's true, 100%, especially for the apps world, right? Nowadays, there are like what thousands of decentralized applications. And I think I saw some news in the recent history that there are like 20,000 applications almost on the Polygon blockchain because they're giving them much more faster like transaction speeds compared to Ethereum. I've also seen one news recently that Instagram is launching digital collectibles or the NFTs on their app And what they're using in the backend is Polygon, because Polygon is able to like scale all of this like much more faster than what they have with Ethereum right now.
Yeah. Maybe let's also talk about the story behind Polygon. Looks like there were three people in India who are actually working in different companies and doing their own gigs, but were interested in crypto, going to a lot of crypto conferences and all of that stuff. Kind of all of these three people got together to, basically solve a problem for Ethereum scalability, and they working for 2.5 years came up with something called Matic. And this Matic is basically a side chain for Ethereum, and it's helping settle out a lot of transactions on the side, and then verifying it with the overall black blockchain, and kind of solved for the scalability issue. But once it outgrew the use case, they're kind of replicating that into a lot of different chains. So they now have a lot of different chains, one for security, one for scalability, and one for using different chains. And all of these help other chains scale too. So that's a interesting story, right? Where people interested in a specific technology kind of go in and solve for, and now they are actually kind of heading the layer 2 space, and they are leaders in that space.
Yeah, that's true, and they have to do that, right? Because like you were telling, like Ethereum was proof of work, now they're proof of stake, and like we spoke in our previous video, right? Ethereum too has a huge roadmap where they're planning to solve all of their current problems, scalability, security, etc. And once they solve all of this, maybe sidechains might not be really helpful for them. And we see this time to time in the big companies as well, right? Big companies start to use it like a smaller product, but once they know the nitty-gritties of it, they'll solve all of that by themselves. So they don't need that small startup. So in order for them to like eliminate that situation, this is good. Now they are scaling to all of the bigger blockchains so that they can help any blockchain scale.
Yeah. And also I was thinking, right, like imagine now Ethereum 2, as we are talking about the upgrade, right? The second and third stage of that is more of scalability. And when Ethereum also reaches 65,000 transactions per second, and there's also an additional Polygon chain on the side which does 65,000 transactions per second. So imagine the when both of them are working together, imagine the capacity of transactions which could happen, right? So that's also helping a lot of different applications which are inside. So I think it's a very good collaboration for both the chains there, and also it's helping each other to grow, I'd say. Yeah. And
And
yeah.
let me add one variation to this, Sidhu. So in the last video, we were talking about two types of customers here, right? So there is an end customer who is actually doing transactions. There is the other customer that we were talking about is a developer. So Ethereum is also doing a lot of things in their blockchain to help the developers who are actually building the blockchains. I think Polygon is also taking a very strong stance in that. So when I looked at their website, right, one of the primary mottos that they listed there was built by developers for developers. And they are trying to stand by their principles by having their code as open source. Anyone can come, like if you literally go to their homepage right now, they'll give you all the required details on how you can like contribute to that. I think that is one of the biggest problems that Polygon or any of these like side chains are trying to solve for. So help the developers to scale the blockchains.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. So it's actually making it easier and easier for the developers, and so that it kind of eliminates all the problems with these chains, and helps them kind of build whatever they want to, right? It kind of closer to the real world. Yeah. So also another interesting fact here, right? So imagine a business is so dependent on one platform, uh, it kills and either boosts that business, right? Similar to Facebook has been on Apple ecosystem for a long time, and they have been generating a lot of revenue through ads. Just a small change where Apple changes its privacy rules, the revenues go down. So that's basically why companies have to diversify or maybe have a platform that doesn't favors either of the parties, right? So I think uh, decentralized blockchains or decentralized platforms would help in not having bias towards any of these things.
Yeah, that's true. It happened. It's applicable to the blockchains as well, right? So the top blockchains, like let's say Bitcoin and Ethereum, were taking monopoly. And when they were taking the monopoly, what we have seen in the recent times is like in order for you to transfer $1, you're probably paying like $20 to $40 of fees, which is bad. And in order, at the end of the day, all we want to see is the blockchains to grow or the decentralized applications to grow. In order for them to grow, the overall software needs to be simpler. The developers should be able to come and easily understand and build apps on top of it. I think Polygon and few of these other side chains are really making that happen in this ecosystem.
Yeah, that's right. So I think players like this should exist, which are not the main chains, but also support different chains to enhance their capability, so that the overall ecosystem kind of grows, right, as it goes. Yeah,
That's
it's
correct.
good discussion on Polygon. So there's also an interesting layer zero, I would say, which is Polkadot. Let's maybe quickly discuss about Polkadot. So what is your take on Polkadot?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me give you an example, right? Let's see you're doing a lot of transactions on Ethereum. Okay. And now you decided that, dude, I'm not liking Ethereum. Like 5 years down the line, there is a new blockchain that it's much more faster, much more easier, etc. And then you want to move a bunch of this data from Ethereum to that. How would you do that? Very similar to the bigger companies that you're talking about, right? Let's say you're doing all of the things on Facebook, and then now Instagram came up, and then Instagram is the whole new thing that's happening here. In order for you to see the data from your Facebook to Instagram, there's no way it's going to happen. And the same thing was happening on blockchains, and that's where Polkadot came into picture. They're like, hey, we are level zero platform or level zero blockchain, which can connect different blockchains, and we can help you like transfer the data. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the name actually says it all, right? So it's basically all these dots in Polkadot, right? So yeah, I was reading an interesting analogy here where a PC by its own is not as powerful as a connected PC to other PCs, right? So imagine a powerful machine if it's not connected to the internet or the other PCs, how it actually reduces the amount of power it has. Similar to that, there's also another analogy where you imagine houses as individual blockchains in a community, and layer imagines layer zero as roads between different houses, electricity or water which is connected. So without these uh, layers which connect all of these blockchains together, there could be less of use cases that could happen when you combine all of these blockchains together, and also the interoperability would be much less, right? So I think that's where Polkadot plays a very key use case, which it's actually connecting through all of these blockchains together. So one other example here, right? So we were also talking about some use cases previously where we are saying, okay, what if uh, automobile insurance application exists in Ethereum, right? There could be another blockchain which actually an IoT blockchain which kind of collecting a lot of this data and giving it to the insurance agency. There could also be a other blockchain which actually taking all the insurance money and investing that. There could be another blockchain which actually doing an identity management or a security check on the person who's applying for the insurance. So all of these blockchains interacting together would actually add a lot of value, and kind of create this ecosystem where all the apps talk to each other and share information, share different usability of stuff and all.
Yeah, that's true, 100%. Because not all of the apps would be built on the same blockchain. Like you might have a completely different opinion about a blockchain than me. So we might be building apps on whole different blockchains. So now each of them can't talk to each other, which basically means each of them are not getting the benefits of one another. And Polkadot can come and solve that problem where you can connect one to the other and add all the benefits there. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, then I think the last topic what we have here is Solana. Solana is also a layer two, right? So yeah, let's maybe get started with Solana. What are the key differences here?
Yeah, I'll start with a very quick example, right? So Bitcoin works on proof of work, which basically means thousands of miners have to like find a crypto hash or a crypto key to get a block. The next one is proof of stake. Proof of stake basically means like one pool of customers or like one person is chosen to put their stake and then get the new block created. Now, the problem with all of this is it's synchronous, like one happens after the other. So when this is happening, the blockchains gets congested. So that's why Ethereum has only like 20 transactions per second because they're doing everything synchronously. That's where proof of history comes into place. Proof of history basically means you can do like multiple transaction validations parallelly with chains that are running parallelly. Once they are done, they have a proof of history and when each of these transactions were done. So you take all of that and stitch it in one place using the proof of that history. And that is what Solana is doing. And that's how they're able to scale to like hundreds of thousands of transactions per second and help Ethereum to like scale much more faster.
Yeah, and an analogy for that would be you having a queue of transactions that have to be done in Ethereum, where the first transaction is kind of dependent on the second transaction is kind of dependent on the first transaction, and it has to wait till the other transaction gets done. And now in Solana, what we're doing is okay, everybody stand in the same line, but you'll get an actually a token, and whenever it's your turn, we process that. So that's basically avoiding um, the time where all the other transactions which are waiting in the line are not dependent on each other. So all of them are time stamped, and they could basically be processed based on the time it takes to process for the blockchain. So yeah, it's making it much easier. And also I think the number of transactions per second is close to 700,000. So that's like crazy, right? So it's 10 times more than Polygon, and I think 3 times more than the Visa network. So it opens up a lot of different use cases which could basically go as applications on these networks. And previously
Yeah.
we were also talking about social apps being part of some of these, right? And maybe uh, this levels of transactions per second could only be done in the social apps and all of that. So this could be a good use case where social apps could come and start building something there.
Yeah, 100%. And we were telling 710,000 is like a much higher number right now, right? This reminds me of a time in probably like what 2004 or 2005s where we were telling, hey, my new computer has a 10 GB memory, and now it's like not even 10 GB. I think we were so happy that we had like a 2 GB memory at the time.
Way back. Yeah. I think
I
yeah, even this, right? Yeah.
I feel like we are there right now because we think of like 710,000 as like simpler, but the way the apps are growing or the way the connected systems are growing, those 710,000 transactions might be much more lower 30 years down the line,
Yeah.
where you might have to scale to like or continue to
Yes.
have like multiple of these chains, but needs to do this.
Million of these transactions, right? Yeah. So this also brings to me to the situation of, I think we are all born after the internet was pretty popular, or at least it comes to our school and we have a PC and all. But there are people who saw the rise of internet, right? where they know how the underground cables are connected and how all of the protocols inside the LAN works, and all of that stuff, right? I think now it's just plug and play. It's so simple for us that we don't even know how everything in the background works, like how the internet is works and how everything is connected. So I think, yeah, all of these blockchains are decentralized blockchains, cryptocurrencies, and all of that stuff would someday reach to that point where everything works flawlessly and the person is actually using the app but doesn't know what happens in the background.
So basically, what you're saying is we are in the 70s for blockchains.
Yeah, that's right. Similar to, so maybe, yeah, maybe not 10-15 years, but like next, there is 30 years of journey that is ahead when we actually see the benefits of what this technology does. But yeah,
Yep.
I think it's been a really good discussion all of these weeks, Funny. So we have been learning a lot and also trying to share our thoughts and uh, uh,
Let's do this, right?
this, right?
Like similar to what we do. If you want our viewers to like take two things out of this entire video or out of the topic for sidechains, what do you think those two are?
Yeah, I would say the first one is right. Side chains are uh, helping with the scalability of the chain, so it's making it much faster and faster for applications, and it's helping them scale in a much faster way. So I think scalability is the first part. The second part is there is a downside to side chains because they're not verifying all the transactions and they're just verifying a snapshot of transaction. There could be a security risk, but I would say as the technology progresses, there would be ways where we can address these ways of security and all of that. So scalability is the upside, and the downside would be security.
Makes sense. Yeah, from my point of view, I think the first thing that comes to mind is the customer obsession, right? In this point that I'm talking about is developer customer obsession. I think that's what the sidechains are helping with. In order for any company to grow, all you need is people contributing to that. In this case, especially for blockchains, developers contributing to it. I think sidechains are building a very strong and scalable platforms where developers can come code in Web3 and help all of these platforms to scale. And the second one, obviously, like you said, right, applications. In order for decentralized applications to scale, we need these side chains which can like process all of these transactions much more faster and help the primary blockchains to grow. And that's what they're doing.
Yeah, so I think, yeah. So I'd say, yeah, again, it's been I think a kind of a really good experience learning a lot of different concepts and all of that stuff. So if the viewers, right, if you kind of like this, please comment, or if you want to encourage us, please leave a comment on what we want to talk to. But yeah, this has been a collective effort on understanding different concepts and discussing it as we go.
Yep,
So
absolutely. Thank you so much, Siddham.
perfect. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.